The morning sun filtered through the white curtains of our family home, painting the kitchen in gold. I was slicing strawberries for the cake my sister loved when I first heard his voice, deep, calm, yet filled with an unfamiliar warmth that made my hands freeze mid-cut. "Good morning," he said, his tone polite, his smile kind. That was Ethan, the man my sister Haley had brought home to introduce to us her fiancé. He extended his hand to me. Across the kitchen counter, the effortless charm radiating from him even. In silence, I shook his hand awkwardly, mumbling, "Hi, I'm Avery, Haley's sister." He laughed softly. "Of course. You are. She told me you bake the best strawberry cakes in town." Haley entered, wrapping her arms around him, glowing with the kind of happiness I'd only ever seen in fairy tales. "Don't flirt with my sister, Ethan. You've only known her 2 minutes. I wasn't flirting," he said, smiling, just appreciating good taste, but something in the way he said it made my heart flutter, a quiet, treacherous beat I couldn't control. That day changed everything. Haley and Ethan's engagement was celebrated with laughter, clinking glasses, and 1,000 pictures of them together. I tried to smile, to be happy for her. She was my sister, my best friend. We'd grown up sharing secrets, dreams, even heartbreaks. But for the first time, I couldn't share this joy with her, because every time Ethan looked at her, every time he kissed her forehead, something inside me twisted painfully, and when his eyes met mine across the room just for a second, it was like the world froze. I told myself it was nothing, a fleeting thought, a silly mistake of the heart. But later that night, as I washed the dishes, I felt him behind me. His presence was unmistakable. Quiet, steady, almost magnetic. "You looked sad today," he said softly. I didn't turn around. "Just tired, big day," he chuckled, stepping closer. "Haley said you never liked crowds." "She remembers everything," I said, forcing a smile. "She's lucky to have you." I wanted to tell him he shouldn't say things like that, that his voice shouldn't sound so gentle when it wasn't meant for me, but I stayed silent, clutching the plate until my fingers went white. He left a moment later, the scent of his cologne lingering in the air long after his footsteps faded. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. I told myself it was just admiration, nothing more. He was kind, charming, and good to Haley. Anyone would admire him. But deep down, a dangerous truth whispered, I wished I had met him first. A few weeks later, Haley asked me to help with wedding preparations. I threw myself into the work: invitations, dress fittings, the cake design, anything to keep my hands busy and my mind away from Ethan. But fate wasn't kind. One afternoon, Haley got called away for a sudden business meeting and asked Ethan to drop off some files at my apartment. He arrived in the rain, shirt damp, his hair slightly messy. He looked almost too human, not the perfect man I'd built in my mind, but someone real. You didn't have to come all the way, I said, avoiding his eyes. It was on the Way, he replied, smiling. Besides, Haley said you'd kill her if these files got wet. We both laughed, the kind of easy, natural laughter that felt too dangerous to enjoy. He noticed the sketchbook on my table, filled with designs for Haley's wedding dress. You drew these, I nodded. Embarrassed, just ideas. She'll pick something different. He flipped through the pages slowly, admiring each line. You're talented, Avery. Really? My chest tightened. Compliments from him felt like confessions I wasn't supposed to hear. When he looked up, our eyes met, and in that fragile second, the air between us changed. Neither of us spoke. The rain tapped against the window, soft and rhythmic, like the heartbeat of something forbidden. Then his phone buzzed. Haley, he stepped back, answering quickly, his tone shifting back to normal. Yeah, I just dropped them off. She's fine. When he hung up, I forced a laugh. You should go before she thinks you got lost. He hesitated, as if he wanted to say something more, but he only nodded. See you at the wedding rehearsal. And then he was gone. I stood there trembling, my heart breaking under the weight of something I couldn't name. I fell for him that day, quietly, hopelessly, and completely. The days leading up to the wedding blurred together in ribbons of white and gold. Every morning I woke up, reminding myself of the same rule. Don't look at him, don't think about him, don't fall deeper. But Ethan was everywhere, in the flowers Haley chose, in the song he picked for their first dance, in every whispered plan that I helped her perfect, and every time his gaze brushed mine, I felt that forbidden ache grow stronger. Haley was radiant. Love, she'd often call me late at night, giggling about some sweet thing Ethan did. He made me coffee before work. She'd say, he listens when I talk. He's everything I prayed for. Avery. I'd smile, even though each word sliced me open, because I saw it too. He was everything she said, gentle, steady, impossibly kind, and still I couldn't stop wanting him. The night before the wedding, we gathered for the rehearsal dinner. The air smelled of wine and roses, laughter bouncing around the hall. Haley was glowing, dancing barefoot under the string lights. I stood at the edge of the crowd, clapping, pretending my smile didn't tremble. Ethan found me there, a glass of champagne in hand. You did all this? I nodded, mostly Haley's vision. It's beautiful, he said softly. Then after a pause, you're beautiful too. My heart stopped. He froze, as if realizing what he'd said, then cleared his throat, looking away. I mean, you've done a beautiful job. Right, I whispered, pretending not to notice the way his hands shook. We stood in silence for a moment, a silence filled with all the words we couldn't say. Later that night, as everyone left, I stayed behind to help clean up. The rain had returned, soft and endless. Ethan offered to help carry the boxes to my car. When the last one was loaded, I turned to thank him and found him standing close, too close. Avery, he said, voice low, uncertain. There's something I shouldn't say. Then, don't, I said quickly, my chest rising. And falling, he looked at me like he was trying to memorize every detail. My trembling lips, my tear-bright eyes, the way the rain clung to my hair. You make it hard, he whispered, being around you, pretending I don't feel this. My breath caught Ethan's stop, but he didn't. Before I could move, his lips were on mine. It was soft, hesitant, like both of us were afraid of what would happen if we let go. The world fell away. The rain, the lights, the guilt, everything disappeared in that single dangerous heartbeat. And for a moment I kissed him back, just one moment, then reality crashed down. I pushed him away, shaking. We can't. Ethan, she's my sister. I know, he said, his voice breaking. I know I didn't mean to. Then forget it happened, I said, tears burning my eyes. Please. He looked like he wanted to argue, to say something, but the pain in my voice stopped him. He nodded once, turned away, and walked into the rain. I stood there for a long time, the echo of his kiss still on my lips, the taste of something sweet and cruel. When I finally got home, I stared at my reflection in the mirror. My hands were trembling, my lips were red. I whispered to myself over and over, you didn't love him, you can't love him, you won't. But I was lying because I had already fallen, and there was no going back. The wedding morning arrived like a punishment wrapped in white silk. Haley's laughter echoed through the house as the stylists worked on her hair. Her happiness filled every corner, and I tried to smile as I pinned the lace veil she loved so much. You look perfect, I whispered. She squeezed my hand. Promise me you won't cry when I walk down the aisle. I'll try. But the truth was, I had already been crying all morning silently behind locked doors, because last night's kiss still haunted me. Ethan's lips, his voice, the way he said my name like it meant something. And the worst part, he was about to marry my sister. When the ceremony began, I stood by Haley's side holding her bouquet. The church smelled of jasmine and candle wax. Then Ethan walked in. He looked perfect in his gray suit, calm and steady, the same man who'd kissed me in the rain less than 24 hours ago. Our eyes met for just a second, 1 second too long. A flash of guilt passed through his, and I looked away, clutching the bouquet so tightly that the stems broke in my hands. The vows began. Each word felt like a knife. I, Ethan, take you, Haley. The crowd smiled, Haley beamed, and I stood there, pretending not to fall apart. When he slid the ring onto her finger, my vision blurred. My chest hurt so much I thought I might faint. And when he kissed her, my sister, his wife, I finally understood what heartbreak really felt like. The reception was chaos, music, dancing, laughter. Haley was radiant, glowing in her new white dress. Ethan moved among the guests, smiling, playing the role of the perfect husband. I tried to stay invisible, but guilt makes you noticeable. At one point, Ethan came over to where I stood near the edge of the garden. He kept his voice low. Are you okay? I nodded stiffly. You should be with your wife, he winced. Avery, I know, I said, Sharply, "We don't talk about it ever." He hesitated, then said quietly, "You think I don't feel it too. You think." "This doesn't kill me." I looked away. "Then let it kill you quietly," he said. Nothing after that, just turned and walked away. Days turned into weeks. Haley and Ethan moved into a new house. By the lake, she called me often. Excited, full of stories about their new life, but I couldn't bear to visit. I always found excuses, work, illness, anything, because I was terrified. Terrified of seeing him again, terrified of what might still be alive between us. Still, fate had other plans. One evening, Haley called in tears. "Avery, I think Ethan's avoiding me." She whispered, "He's distant, he comes home late, he barely talks." My stomach twisted. "Maybe he's just stressed." "I don't know," she said, sniffling. "Can you talk to him? You've always been good at getting through to people." I froze. "Haley, I can't. Please, Avery, for me." Against every instinct, I agreed. When I arrived at their house, Haley wasn't home. She'd gone to her parents for the night, leaving Ethan and me alone. He looked surprised to see me. "She sent you," I nodded. "She's worried," he sighed, rubbing his temples. "I'm not avoiding her, I'm just trying to make sense of things." "Things? Like what?" He looked up, and in his eyes I saw it again, the same unspoken thing that had destroyed us both. "You know what?" he said softly. I shook my head. "Don't do this again. I've tried to stop," he whispered, stepping closer. "But I can't forget that night. I can't forget you." I backed away. "Ethan, please." His voice cracked. "I married the wrong sister." The words hit me like a thunderclap. "Don't say that," I begged. "You love Haley." "I care about her," he said quietly. "But love is what I feel when I see you." My tears came before I could stop them. "You can't do this to her, to us." He reached for my hand, and for a split second, I let him. It was electric, wrong, addictive. Then Haley's car pulled into the driveway. We jumped apart, panic washed over us both. She walked in a minute later, smiling, holding a bag of groceries. "Oh, Avery, you're here." I forced a shaky smile. "Yeah, just checking on you too." Ethan couldn't even look at her. Haley kissed his cheek and went to the kitchen, humming, and that's when I knew if we didn't end it, whatever it was, we would destroy her. That night I sat in my car, outside their house, shaking, crying so hard I could barely breathe. I loved him, I knew it, but love like this had no place in the world. It was a secret that would ruin everything, and no matter how much it broke me, I had to bury it alive. For weeks after that night, I avoided both of them. Haley's calls went unanswered, her texts unopened. I told myself I was protecting her, but in truth, I was protecting myself from seeing what I'd lost. Still, guilt has a way of finding you. It seeps through silence, drips through time, and whispers when the world is quiet. I dreamed of Ethan often, his voice, his touch, the way his eyes softened when he looked at me. Every morning I'd wake up with tears on my pillow and the same thought echoing in my chest: you have to forget him, but forgetting someone who lives so close to your heart feels like trying to erase your own reflection. One evening, Haley showed up at my apartment. Unannounced, her mascara was smudged, her eyes swollen from crying. "Avery," she said, her voice trembling. "Can we talk?" I stepped aside, letting her in. She sank into the couch, holding her hands together. "Something's wrong," she whispered. "Ethan's distant again. He barely looks at me. He says he's tired. But it's more than that. It's like he's somewhere else with someone else." My blood ran cold. "Haley," I began, but my voice cracked. She looked up at me then, desperate. "Fragile. Avery, do you think he's cheating on me?" The question hit like a blow. Every part of me wanted to scream. Yes, but not for the reason she thought. Instead, I lied. "No, Ethan would never do that." She shook her head. "Then why does it feel like I've already lost him?" I reached out, taking her hand. "You haven't lost him. Maybe he just needs time. Marriage is hard in the beginning." She gave a weak smile. "You always know what to say." But as she left, I felt like the worst kind of liar. That night, Ethan called. I stared at his name on the screen until the ringing stopped, then it rang again. I answered. "Avery," he said softly, "we need to talk." There's nothing left to say. I saw Haley. Tonight she's worried. I'm breaking her apart, and I can't keep pretending everything's fine. "You have to," I whispered. "She loves you." He was quiet for a long moment then. "And I love you." Those words, simple, deadly, tore through me. "Don't say that again," I said, my voice shaking. "Why not?" he asked. "It's the truth, because the truth will ruin her." He didn't answer, only silence, heavy, final. When I hung up, I sank to the floor and cried until I could barely breathe. 2 days later, Haley invited me to dinner. "I miss you," she'd said on the phone. "Please come, it'll be good for us." I wanted to refuse, but part of me knew I couldn't run forever. When I arrived, the house looked beautiful. Soft lights, music, a table set for 3. Ethan greeted me with that familiar aching smile. Haley kissed him lightly and turned to me. "You two sit. I'll get the wine." I sat across from him, unable to meet his eyes. Every second felt like walking through a storm. No one else could see. When Haley returned, she poured wine into 3 glasses and raised hers. "To family," she said cheerfully. We drank. The taste burned down my throat like truth I couldn't swallow. Halfway through dinner, Haley leaned back and said, "You know, sometimes I feel like Ethan talks more to you than to me." I froze. Ethan looked up sharply. "Haley," she laughed, "I'm kidding. You're my sister, Avery. I trust you both more than anyone." Her words shattered me. Trust, the one thing I no longer deserved. After dinner, I offered to help clean up. Haley went upstairs to change, leaving Ethan and me alone in the kitchen. He stood by the sink, silent. I could feel the tension pulsing between us. Finally, he said, "We can't go on like this. I know she'll find out, Avery, one way or another. Then we end it," I said firmly. "Right here." He turned, eyes filled with pain. "You think I can just erase you. You have to, we. We're both trembling, the air between us, thick with everything unsaid. Then sound, a soft gasp from the hallway. We turned. Haley stood there frozen. Her face was pale, her eyes wide, heartbreak already blooming behind them. How long? She whispered. My breath stopped. Haley, don't lie to me, she shouted, her voice cracking. I heard you, I heard everything. Tears blurred my vision. It was a mistake, I swear. Mistake, she choked out. You kissed my husband, you fell in love with him. How is that a mistake? Haley, please, Ethan said, stepping forward. She backed away from him, shaking. Don't touch me. Both of you stay away from me. She turned and ran upstairs, sobbing. I sank to the floor, my entire body trembling. Ethan looked at me helplessly. What have we done? There was no answer. Only the sound of Haley's door slamming shut, and the silence that followed felt like punishment from a god I no longer believed in. That night changed everything. The secret was no longer ours. It was a wound bleeding through the heart of our family, and the only thing left to do was survive the wreckage. The morning after Haley found out felt like the world had stopped breathing. The house was silent, no birds, no voices, not even the usual sound of the lake against the shore, just silence, heavy and merciless. Haley didn't come downstairs. Ethan tried knocking on her door, but she didn't answer. I sat on the edge of the couch, my heart hammering, every sound in my body too loud for the stillness around us. Finally, Ethan turned to me. You should go, he said quietly. Ethan, she doesn't need to see you right now. The way he said it, cold, distant, deeper than anything else. He was right. Of course, I had no right to be there. So I left. For days, I didn't hear from either of them. I tried calling Haley, but she didn't pick up. I sent messages, apologies that felt too small, too late, but they went unanswered. At night, I replayed that moment in my mind, Haley's face when she realized the truth, the disbelief, the betrayal. That was the image that would haunt me. Forever, I'd broken my sister. I'd destroyed her marriage. And for what? For a love that was never mine to begin with. A week later, Haley finally called. Her voice was tired, flat. Meet me at Mom's house. When I arrived, she was sitting in the garden, her wedding ring lying on the table beside her. She looked older. Somehow, not in years but in the way grief changes a person. I sat down across from her, my hands trembling. Haley, I whispered, I don't know how to ask for forgiveness, but don't, she said, cutting me off. Don't ask for something I can't give. Tears welled in my eyes. I never wanted to hurt you. You did, she said, voice breaking. You hurt me in the one way I never thought you could. You took the one person I trusted most, you, Avery, and turned her into someone I don't recognize. I didn't take him, I said softly. I lost him too, she laughed bitterly. You didn't lose him, you never had him. Her words hit me like a slap, but I knew she was right. After a long silence, she said quietly, I'm leaving, I need to be away from both of you. Haley, please. No, she stood up looking at me with eyes full of exhaustion and sorrow. Whatever was between you and Ethan, it ends now. You can't fix this, you can only live with it. She picked up the ring, placed it in my palm, and whispered, you can give this back to him, I don't want it anymore. Then she walked away, the sound of her footsteps fading like a heartbeat, slowing to its final beat. That night I went to see Ethan one last time. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. Shadows under his eyes, unshaven, lost. She's gone, I told him quietly. He nodded, I know. She called me before she left, said she needs time, said she doesn't know if she'll ever forgive either of us. I placed the ring on the table between us. She asked me to return this. He stared at it for a long time, his eyes wet. I ruined her, didn't I? We both did, I said. He took a shaky breath. Do you regret it, us? The question broke me. I regret what it cost, I whispered, but not what it meant. He looked at me then, really looked, and for a second I saw the man I had fallen in love with, but I also saw the ruin we had made of everything. He reached out, took my hand gently, and said, then we should let it go before it destroys what little we have left. I nodded through tears. Goodbye, Ethan. Goodbye, Avery. I never saw him again. After that, Haley left the city, started over somewhere new. Ethan sold the house and disappeared into another life. And me, I stayed behind in the same town, the same small apartment, haunted by echoes of two people I loved and lost. Sometimes I still walk by the lake where their wedding pictures were taken. I imagine a different version of myself, one who never crossed that line, one who never let a moment of weakness destroy lifetime of love. But life doesn't give you do-overs, only lessons. I learned that love isn't always pure or kind. Sometimes it's a beautiful lie, wrapped in pain. And the price of loving what was never mine was losing everything that ever